Anyway, it's you had a segment dedicated on Fox NFL Today, or the Fox NFL Sunday, done by quote unquote reporter Jay Glazer, sitting down in an interview with Richie Incognito, and I tuned in, unfortunately halfway through it, but what I did catch was Incognito talking about it's the culture, it's the locker room culture, and this is behavior that he accepts, meaning Jonathan Martin, that the players accept, that other players accept, because it's just what the locker room is, it's just what the NFL is. Well, to me that's not good enough anymore, and the entire idea of making some sort of excuse because it's a culture isn't well and good. I mean, you do not see, I mean, you'll see plenty of people, I would like to call them ignorant or insensitive individuals, that will be out in rural America having, even in north of the Mason-Dixon line, sporting a Confederate flag on the back of their pickup. Okay, I'm kind of like, your great grandpappy didn't fight in the war. Your grandfather didn't. You don't. I don't know why you're particularly supporting this, or this sort of outdated mentality. I mean, just because it's a culture doesn't excuse it. Just because the Chinese culture does not value a female child's life doesn't mean it's excusable. Doesn't mean that it's good. Just because a warlord doesn't value some innocent peasant's life in Africa doesn't excuse it, just because it's the culture. And while probably it's a little two-faced here in America to say, well, you don't value this culture after after different things have happened or different opinions are out there, it's really tough to say, to sort of excuse that behavior and label it as just culture, as acceptance of culture, and that you have to do that. No, because if I was to hear that just out of the blue, hear and basically read the transcript of the voicemail, I would say that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. I mean, that is, how are the papers not filed? How far is the lawsuit coming down? How quick can they settle this? Because typically that's the way that I see the NFL handle these things, is through settlement.
I like the settlements.
Yeah.
I like settling, but
Oh yeah. Not admitting to
I
guilt
don't know.
either.
It's just I just think it's weird how, I don't know. It's just weird.
It is.
It's a
And
strange story. I mean, I get it because that stuff happens, and that's as wrong as I think it is. It's part of American culture. It happens. We see it time and time again.
yeah.
And you know what? We see more now of what happens when bullying happens. We see a lot of end result of that these days with, you
Yeah.
know, guns and so forth. But it doesn't make it right just because it's there. You know what I mean? There's there's
Yes.
there's people that there's people that rob stores and rob people every day. There's politicians that rob the American people every day. There's all sorts of people doing like wrong stuff out there. So I don't know how you fix it, but to kind of if it's also, there's also been talk about, was a lot of this stuff coming from higher up in the Dolphins organization, because there was questions about Martin's toughness, um, being a second year player, and they were trying. There's thought out there that they were trying to toughen him up, and Mr. Incognito just fit the personality profile as somebody that could toughen one up.
Yeah.
But we don't know if that's true or not. And are you really ever going to find out if it's true? Because what head coach is going to truly admit to that? Uh,
Exactly. You're not. You're not going to hear that. I mean, we're
oh,
guilty
sorry,
of saying, "Oh,
I
yeah,
gotta
go ahead."
stop right now just because I look at Twitter right here, and
Yes.
670 The Score just tweeted this 22 seconds ago. Josh McCown will start for the Bears against the Ravens after Jay Cutler suffered a high ankle sprain. So now he's got a high ankle sprain in addition to
A
the
strain
groin
growing.
pull, or strained groin,
Yeah.
whatever you want to talk. It was a torn groin muscle, right? That's what it
Yes.
was. So I'd be interested to know if they could, somebody's going to go out there and pinpoint it now, like when the injury was suffered.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so now what happens? Now is he out 2 weeks?
I'd say you leave him
Because
out as long as it takes.
I say, yeah, exactly. You learned your lesson, and now you just got to stick with it now, and be happy that your backup can play and run the offense, and you've shown to be somewhat successful with him. You're going up against a Ravens team that doesn't have much, much like yourselves, doesn't have the defense that it once used to. So you can. This is a very easily winnable game.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with what we've seen
But
McCown
now,
do
but
now.
now,
So.
we just lost Charles Tillman too, and Peanut goes down, and yeah. So
When things go, but when it rains, it pours, and right now it's sleeting and snowing outside. So yay! But I guess
literally, because it is in
yes.
on here on November 11th. It is snowing outside today. Um,
Yep.
Not sticking much to the ground, but other things it's sticking top
Nonetheless,
of.
yeah.
Good times.
And I almost wonder how often players stay out there, stay with a team because they are quote unquote tough. I would say that I think Jamarcus Webb's entire career with the Bears may have been out there because he was quote unquote tough or was in the quote unquote good graces of some key individuals, because certainly his play never merited him taking a single snap, and henceforth he's not with the team, and not even financial incentives could have helped him do that. But it's, I mean, yes, we will commentate and criticize and say that he's a bad player. We're criticizing how he does his job, not necessarily the person, or saying, hey, this guy's a really bad father, he should go kill himself, or the guy's a horrible person off the field, go kill his family. I mean, it's a completely different situation, and I am not trying to say that it excuses. I certainly don't think we've ever been overly critical or unjustly critical of a player because of his play here on this show. If we have, please feel free to let us know, and we'll gladly take ownership if necessary. But I've played on team sports. I have not once been hazed because it just wouldn't be accepted, and I'd also say because probably the institutions were not interested in a lawsuit. So that being said, I'm surprised that the culture has gotten this, that the NFL culture has allowed it to go on for as long as it has, simply out of financial interests. But then again, I'm not.
They'll let concussions go on as long.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right.
But
And
I mean, it's another thing you're not going to stop. It's not going to happen. It happened yesterday. Vernon Davis got a concussion. Thank you very much for your 1 point. I don't like bringing up fantasy, but it was kind of frustrating, um, especially since I have Tavon Austin.
yeah,
Just like any like-minded individual in that situation would not have started him because he's absolutely done nothing all season. But thank you very much.
and I don't know what the cure is. Is it outlaw it? Okay. I'm not willing to say that this entire situation only gets attention because it had racially charged language involved, and it is between individuals of two different race. I kind of find that phony baloney and very thin, because how often? I mean, it almost seems like we were waiting for last year specifically to have the first, I guess, fully out gay, homosexual NFL player. It seemed like it was just going to happen. We were waiting for it, and that just hasn't happened. I mean, I'm not trying to say that the media is sympathetic towards certain individuals, it may certainly seem like that. But how have we not heard about that? How have locker rooms moved away from the fact that they don't want to target an individual based on the color of his sexual based on his sexual preference rather than the color of his skin? I mean, I'm surprised that we haven't heard about situations of, hazing, extreme hazing due to one's sexual preference. It's am I wrong in that? Is that something? Am I coming out of that? Am I taking the wrong perspective on that?
Well, I don't think so. I just don't. I hate conversation because I don't get it. I don't understand. I just don't understand at all. Like, it doesn't. I'm reading through, and you say whatever you want about this interview, but like, what do you? If this guy hasn't hired a publicist by now, he's stupid.
Well, I think he does. I think he has the NFL support on this, and that's, to me, absolutely clear when you go on national television right before your kickoff in order, the start of the big NFL day, and do this. I mean, the NFL Sunday is not, or Fox NFL Sunday is not a low-rated program. We're talking tens and millions of viewers and tens and thousands of eyes, tens of millions of eyes, watching this. And to me, it's inconceivable to the fact that they're out there circling the wagon on him and protecting him when what they should really be doing is championing Martin and saying, hey, you did the right thing. You got yourself out of the situation. It's not the best situation right now, but you're going to get through it, and provide that sort of support that's out there. I mean, if he had, what had happened? I mean, we heard about an NFL player coming to Arrowhead Stadium and killing himself.
Yeah.
In front of his coaches. What would happen what's to say that Martin wouldn't come to Dolphin Stadium? Is that it, or does it have a specific corporate name? Which I'm sure they're thrilled to be a part of.
Well, it used to be called Pro Player, right?
Oof, don't recall. Yeah, Brandon would know. He's the Dolphins fan. But
yeah,
to have an instance of extreme workplace violence like that, and him and kill incognito or shoot, stab, somebody that had, the perpetrator of it. I mean, this is what Columbine was about, people. I mean, come on, let's go back to this. Let's refresh the memory here on our on what causes these sort of extreme situations, and to see them poo-pooing Martin and saying, "Oh, well, he's not a good NFL teammate." If he's not a good NFL teammate, he wouldn't get a job. He would not be picked up.
Yeah, if they didn't think, he would have never made it.
Yeah, so apparently
I watched enough Hard Knocks to know that he wouldn't have made it. But it's Sun Life Stadium, by the way. Sun Life Stadium, whatever. I don't know what Sun Life does.
I would be surprised if it's an insurance or financial.
Something like that. But whatever the case, it's Sun Life Stadium. I miss the days where stadiums were just named places. That was like the best. I love that. I hate the way it is now. I wish there was some way they could change it. It's so stupid, but Sun Life Stadium, come on.
So, I don't know what the fix is, because I don't believe the culture is going to change on a dime, and it's just not going to happen because the NFL culture is so pervasive down to the smallest and most individualistic points. I mean, think about that. You had NFL shop commercials stating, oh, it's easier to change your name than it is your colors. When you had, I think it was Dolphins and Vikings, a couple, a married couple, same last name on the jersey, you know,
Yeah.
but two different teams. I mean, when you have that kind of you have